Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Simon and I'm here to give you an update on what has happened over the last few days in the cryptocurrency markets. And Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies coming under a little bit of pressure. So today we're going to look at the charts and we're going to dive into the price action and ask, is this a reason to be concerned, or actually is this just an opportunity that we can actually take advantage of from seeing some lower prices? So we're going to start off by looking at Bitcoin, and we've got Bitcoin here on the daily. We can actually see that over the last 24 hours, Bitcoin has actually lost its support level that we have been testing. And we did say in our last video that actually this could get broken and we might actually look to come down to the bottom of this bull flag and this descending channel, and maybe down to around about 24,000. So it hasn't really come as too much of a surprise to see Bitcoin continue to pull back. The real question is this an opportunity? Are we going to hold this support at around about 24,000, or are we going to see much lower prices? And obviously that's a question nobody really knows the answer to, but personally I am looking to add to my Bitcoin at around about this 24,000 level, maybe just below, but I have this area of support coming in. We also have this ascending trend line, so this is connecting the lows of the year really, and it would be encouraging to see a response here and to see that hold. And we've also got this 200-day moving average here, this black moving average, which will come up to support the price. Just double checking that. So yes, we do have a cluster of support here, and I would expect that if Bitcoin is going to remain bullish and we are going to see higher prices over the next 2-3 months, that area would be defended by the bulls, and hopefully we see a strong response there in a similar way to we saw back in the lows in March. Obviously, if we do lose this level, then for me that is really our last real level before coming down and starting to test this March low, and maybe going as low as 20,000. Maybe we're able to hold above 20,000. Maybe we actually come down and form a bit of a wick down here and a bit of a trap, and we're able to recapture the 24 level, recapture this ascending trend line. And at that point, if we were able to come down, form a trap and come straight back up again, I would actually see that as a very bullish sign, and that would probably give us the momentum to then go and challenge our yearly highs to date. However, at the moment, it's a little bit nervy, I think, if you're positioned long, and we're kind of in wait and see mode. Obviously, I will be adding a bit here, but I'm completely open to the fact that we could come down a bit lower. Maybe we come down into the deep low 20s and then look to make a bit of a trap and go higher. Obviously, if we do start to consolidate under 24,000 and start making daily closes and certainly a weekly close under here, then that would obviously mean that potentially we've seen these up move completely play out, and it could be that we come back down and we start to test lower prices again. So that's something to be aware of. If we just look at the weekly, Bitcoin on the weekly, we can kind of see that similar kind of situation. We've got this green MA, which I think is the 50 is the 50 period moving average, coming in around about sort of 22,000. It might be 22,000 and a half by the time we get there. It is a moving average. It does like to act as support and resistance. You can kind of say that, look, it supported us during our last bull market when we had the sell-off in May of 2021. You can also say that maybe it's acted a little bit as resistance on the way down. I mean, obviously we did close above it at the start of the bear market or earlier on in 2022, but then where we lost it again, we came down pretty hard. So I would say that has some relevance, and that is definitely, you know, the fact that this is turned around and started to trend up. You would hope this would provide some support if we do come back down. And just flipping back over to the daily, if you take the swing low from March to the swing high in April, we can actually look at our fib targets here, and you would say that the 618, which tends to be quite a popular fib target for traders to look at when prices start to pull back and retrace, is around about that similar level, that just under that 24k level. So I would have thought we could come down here, and this, like I say, with this confluence of support, hopefully this is an area that the bulls will step in and defend. So I am expecting this area to hold. If that is lost, potentially we do come down lower. And like I say, if we were to come down to the deep 20s, we also have the 786 there too. But I think it's really a case of just taking this one level at a time and seeing what happens when we get down to this 24k level. So yeah, that's really the update for Bitcoin. Obviously, if we also take a look at Ethereum too, Ethereum, similar situation, also pulling back. I think in the last video, I did mention that if Ethereum continues to come down, the next level I'd be looking at would be the level where this 200-week moving average is lining up. And that is around about sort of 1,550. So yeah, about sort of, yeah, 1,550, call it, give or take. So mid 1500s, I would look for bulls to come in and defend Ethereum there. So not too much else to really say about Ethereum, other than it's obviously pulling back as Bitcoin's pulling back. Kind of goes without saying, if we're going to have a sustained up move in any of the tokens, Ethereum or any other altcoin, we really need to see Bitcoin turn around and pull through here. And just to kind of, I guess, maybe give a bit of insight as to why we've been pulling back. Obviously, we had FOMC yesterday, so we had some fairly positive news on Tuesday, which was inflation data coming in better than expected. So inflation is still falling. However, yesterday, despite the Fed pausing their interest rate hikes, Fed Chair Powell has actually come out and he's now said to expect further hikes later on in the year. And the Fed's dot plot is actually showing a further 2 rate hikes later on this year, which obviously the market didn't expect. And I think a lot of people were actually expecting the Fed to now pause and obviously to wait and see what happens with the lagging effects of interest rate rises in terms of those feeding through and hitting the economy. But it looks like they are viewing inflation as being quite sticky in certain areas. And for this reason, they have said they will be prepared to raise rates higher a further 2 times this year. So we will have to see what they do. But obviously, this has obviously affected the dollar. If we kind of see what happened on the daily chart, we will see yesterday that the dollar looked like it was breaking down off the interest rate pause. And then as a result of the more hawkish tone at the press conference, the dollar then started to rise back up. And right now, it seems to be deciding which way it wants to go. But I wouldn't be surprised to see the dollar sort of come up a little bit higher based on that news. Stock markets, very similar. It's probably easier if I drop down to 4 hour. We can actually see that stocks sort of rallied off the back of the interest rate decision, but then actually came down in the press conference and then sort of rallied back up. And it was a similar thing with the Nasdaq as well. And now the Nasdaq is actually starting to come back off and roll over a bit. So we'll have to see if these markets get supported and whether stocks are able to carry on their upward momentum. Obviously, if stocks do continue to pull back and we've got the dollar starting to rise, this will put further pressure on cryptocurrencies. That's kind of why I think that we might come down a little bit lower and start to press into this level. And then we'll have to reassess where crypto and Bitcoin goes from here. Obviously, just taking a look at Phantom. I know my last video was about altcoins. We can see I actually said on my last video that in terms of the altcoin situation, if things did start to break back down towards their lows, in terms of altcoins, these are areas I would look to accumulate. So things like Phantom, I'm quite interested in coming down here. We're actually on a Tom DeMark 9 reversal candle as well. So could this be the final week of sell-off for altcoins? I'm not completely sure. It will, like I say, ultimately depend on what Bitcoin does. But Solana was another one we looked at, also showing quite a lot of weakness. And obviously we looked at this against Bitcoin as well, which we've shown quite a lot of weakness. But we're coming down to levels that I would personally start to get interested in. If Solana does come back down to to around about the $10 mark and can kind of hold that level, and we see a good response there from the bulls, then potentially it's another coin that I'd be looking to accumulate a bit more of. And really, you know, the idea around alts is that, look, they've taken a massive whack from the SEC lately, and obviously Gary Gensler's comments around certain coins now being securities, and a complete contradiction to some of the things he said in the past. And I just feel like, you know, the news can't really get any worse for altcoins right now. And certainly if we get some downward pressure from Bitcoin too, then I do take that as an opportunity to start to load up, obviously with a 1 to 2 year time horizon. So again, I'll just caveat that by saying none of this is financial advice. Make your own investment decisions entirely. Don't just listen to a random person on the internet. But that's purely what I'm looking at and what I'm looking to do with my own money. So yeah, we'll wrap it up there. Obviously, Bitcoin and crypto coming under some pressure. All I will say is nothing has really changed right now in terms of a trend perspective. Certainly in terms of the weekly trend, it is still a case of sort of higher lows, higher highs. So yeah, we are hoping to see this uptrend hold. Hopefully it will. Certainly if you're bullish. Obviously if you're bearish, or if you do manage to accumulate what you wanted to at these lower prices, you're probably hoping that things do come down a bit further. But we will see what happens over the next few days. Obviously I will come back with an update video in a few days' time to give you my thoughts in terms of how things develop, certainly going into the close this week. And yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed the content. If you have, please do like, share and subscribe, help out the channel, and I will see you soon.